Hey folks, so I'm recording this on the day after Christmas, and it was great, and hope you guys were following all the stuff I put out over the last couple days. I've hope everybody had a great holiday, and as we're kind of coming to a close here, we only got about a week or so left. I got a couple vlogs left to do, and I wanted to tackle one that I thought was pretty interesting. I got a PM from a gentleman named Chris, or SilverrManiac, and he wanted to know about, is it ever too late to start getting into animation? Does it matter how old you are? Does it matter when or if you get into it? And I thought it was a pretty legit question, so I'm going to tackle that one. And I'm going to try not to reiterate too much, but I did an episode recently about like working together in animation, and I'm probably going to reiterate a little bit of stuff from that. So forgive me if I do, but you can go check out that video if you want and kind of hear what I had to say on that one. So the actual answer to this question is no. It is never too late to start doing anything, really, whether it's animation or acting or knitting or otherwise. Really, you can just jump right into something and do it no matter what it is or when it is that you're doing it. However, if you are doing something late into the game, there are going to be some particularly different challenges that come with it compared to if you started doing something very early on in your life. Now, for me personally, what I'm the most versed in from, for as long as I've been alive, more so than any sort of, drawing or animation. Animation, as I've probably told the story of in the beginning of these vlogs, I got into really only into 2004 and then started doing actual animation in 2007. So for me, you could technically say I got into animating like real traditional animating, like frame by frame stuff, only about 6 or 7 years ago, I believe. But yeah, I mean, like, that was a late start for me, and I've been drawing for a long time, but I also never really got any like proper training for drawing until college as well. So same thing, only within the last like 6 or 7 years. But so I've thought about this myself, and that's why I'm kind of tackling this question, because if it's something that I've really wondered about and thought about the legitimacy of. I think that yeah, when you start finding interest in something like way later into the game, you do have to really put your time in, and work much harder, or not necessarily harder, but like in a different kind of way, because people who have done it for years, they still work hard as well, of course, but it just comes much more naturally to them because people who have been animating or drawing and like learning like real theory in that and knowing how it's supposed to be done, definitely have a leg up if they started when they were say like a teenager or whatever, as opposed to by the time that they're an adult, like 18, 21 area. So there is that to consider. But you know what? As far as I'm concerned, a lot of the best people that I've met, that I've worked with personally or have admired, are people who only got their big opportunities of doing what they're super proficient at now, way later. In fact, a big overall example I can give, because a lot of times I'm also asked about voiceover stuff. I can guarantee you that most of your favorite voice actors who are in all of your favorite shows, movies, games, whatever, did not pursue voice acting. There's a very small number of people, at least like the ones who aren't like kind of in my generation, where we got into it, we got interested in it, and now we want to do it. But like the actors who have been doing this forever, like none of them really pursued doing voice acting, and none of them ever really studied it. They were all doing radio, theater, live action. They were all actors. Now granted, that's the basic building blocks of it. And that was what eventually led them to it. And now a lot of them are like A-list voice performers that are in every show, game, and movie that you probably know. For me, in a similar sort of case, really what I'm all about is storytelling, and I guess if you could say filmmaking, more than anything. Even though I didn't start doing real animated, movies until 2004, and I didn't learn how to actually animate like traditionally until I went to college in 2007. I had the makings of what I needed to do from when I was very, very young. Just making stories, drawing characters, creating characters, coming up with ideas for stuff, and then whether I was getting them down on paper or writing stuff or doing little stupid live action movies or making little PowerPoint, quote unquote, cartoons that were really just little pictures moving around in a slideshow format. That's where all that stuff came from. Now, if all your life you're, studying something completely different or you have no real interest in it, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't also still do it. Because I know a lot of other examples of people who, went to school and were studying for many years to do, something a little bit more of a normal job, whether it was like being a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher or whatever. And, and then eventually, whether it was on the side or just something popped up in their head where like, I want to be a stand-up comedian, or I want to be an artist, or I want to be an actor, or whatever, And I think also everybody has like, dreams like that pop up in their head, and they might pursue them, or they might not, or they might just kind of do stuff for fun on the side. And especially now that, again, we live in kind of a world now where we can just kind of produce and really do whatever the hell we want, and whether it gets noticed or not is up to how, I guess, the dice roll, really. But my point is there ever is it ever too late? And really, it isn't. If you're living, if you're breathing, if you have the ability to do something, you always can. You just gotta do it. And when I say do it, I mean you really gotta do it. You gotta put in your time. You gotta really figure out exactly what it is that you like. For me right now, here's something. So when I was a kid, and actually this is a perfect example. When I was a kid, I also really, really wanted to make games. That was something I mentioned in my my How Did I Get Into Animation vlog. Is I had started with I wanted to make games, and then it just kind of turned into filmmaking. And now that I've become very much involved with a lot of these indie game productions and all these people who I'm learning a lot from, I want to get into doing games, and I want to make some someday. But I understand that there's a lot that I have to learn before I even think about doing something like that, because it's I didn't study programming. I studied, or not really studied, but like I designed and came up with ideas, and I played a lot of games and got a lot of ideas that way. But I've never like really designed a game before outside of just like stuff for fun as a kid. So if I want to seriously do that someday, I need to fully understand what it is that makes a good game. And I'm thankfully, again, I'm learning a lot from the people that I work with. But I'm also not gonna. I'll give you a little candid thing, and hopefully this won't disappoint some people. But I kind of wanted to start a Kickstarter for doing a game based on a certain property of mine. You could probably guess which one it is. At the beginning of 2013 or 2014, sorry, and I didn't, because I stopped and realized, I have this game design doc. I have a lot of concept stuff, and people are telling me that this is very possible, but I still don't think that I'm ready yet. And that's not out of like cold feet or whatever. It's just out of like realism and wanting to learn more and get more experience in the stuff that I've been witnessing before jumping into it. So does that mean that it's too late? Not at all. Again, my kind of catch-all answer for that is like we're in a time where you can just do anything and put it out there, and it's there. Now whether you want to to the person asking this question, if you want to learn how to animate to eventually like work in animation like as a career, as in like doing something for a company or a studio or whatever, then it's going to be even more work that you're going to have to put in to get to that level of being able to compete and act professionally, So, and that's a whole another ball game in itself. But again, it's possible. You just have to work really, really, really hard at it. And some people manage to work things out, and they don't always work hard. I'm not going to lie, that happens more often than you might think. Is that the right way to go about it? Is that what to expect? No. But sometimes people just happen to be naturally good, or they do something that catches the right person's eye and they get a good opportunity and they get to try out doing that, whether it's animation or voiceover or stand-up comedy or whatever. It could be anything. It's just sometimes that will happen. But I don't think that's something that you should look for in hopes that that will be how your opportunity, your big break happens. So again, final point is no. It's never too late. You can start right now. You can start today. Do it today. And that's it. It's going to wrap us up. So the time I'm posting this, then I'm going to be out with my friends having a sort of early birthday dinner. My birthday's on the 31st this year. I'm a New Year's Eve baby. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this one and got something out of it. If you like this video, give me a like. If you want to see more of them, give me a subscribe. You can ask me stuff on Twitter or Facebook. And if you got any ideas for a new episode, let me know. You can also let me know in the comments. And again, hope everybody had a great holiday. And I will catch you all later. Have a great one.